And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Come Play With Us, Danny, the horror movie review podcast, hosted by myself and my sister Megan. I think it's because we haven't done a show in like a couple weeks. That's why,
can't say things anymore.
I stuttered for a second, maybe. Well, welcome back in, everybody. Of course, make sure to go to our YouTube page and subscribe. And hit the notification. I can't talk tonight, Megan. And hit the notification bell so you can get notified when new episodes drop. And hopefully I don't stutter when I'm trying to do the intro. Maybe I should take my glasses off.
Is that what's happening? Is the glasses are preventing you from speaking?
My glasses are, I think because of the glare of my ring light. I don't know, maybe. Okay. So make sure to go to our YouTube page at Come Play With Us Danny Show. Hit the notification bell for new episodes dropping. Make sure to subscribe. We love subscribers. And we love you guys commenting on the videos. And we've got a few comments in the past couple of shows, and I've answered.
Oh, have we really?
So yeah. So if
take a look.
Yeah, if you've gotten a comment back from the show, that was probably me. So
yes,
and there were great comments too.
Oh, that's fantastic! I like great comments.
Yeah, we have a good show for you guys tonight. We're going to be reviewing the horror movie Cobweb, which is now streaming on Hulu, part of the Huluween. We've got some movie news and my review of Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Cobweb is a 2023 American horror thriller film directed by Samuel Bodin. It is his actual directorial debut. Its screenplay written by Chris Thomas Devlin was included in the 2018 Blacklist, which, if you guys know what the Blacklist is, it's the in-demand scripts in Hollywood, the ones that everybody's clamoring to get. The film stars Lizzy Caplan, Woody Norman, Cleopatra Coleman, and Antony Starr. Megan, what do you think? What did you think about Cobweb? Of course, if you guys haven't seen Cobweb yet, it's about this little boy. He lives with his parents. He's been bullied at school, and then some weird things start to happen at his house when he hears a rat-tat-tapping.
At the wall?
Rat-tat-tapping through his wall.
So
we had kind of talked about this film before because we played the trailer before, and I think a few prior episodes.
Yes, we did.
I watched the trailer before. And I thought the concept was great. It looked very creepy. And then I watched it the other night. And I'm going to defer to you for your reaction first.
Okay. All right. So the release date was July 21st. I actually went to see this at the theaters.
Okay.
I thought it was good. The only nitpicky thing I think you'll probably agree with me on this is it was the ending.
Yes. And that's what makes this so, that's what makes me so like about this movie is like great setup, like great cast, like Lizzy Caplan's great as like she plays off a very psycho overbearing mother, by the way.
Oh, and she plays it so well.
And then his father, played by Homelander himself from the TV show The Boys, like great casting. He like the parents they played were very psychotic, by the way, and like
offhanded psychotic though. It wasn't like it was meant to be kind of psychotic. You didn't really see them come unravel till like maybe
the middle part of the movie.
Like halfway through the movie.
Right.
And then you're like, something's not right here.
And then the little boy.
Woody Norman.
Great casting of the little boy. I liked him as the main character. He was good.
You who hate children actors most of the time.
Yes. Okay. I thought he was great. Can really display the emotions really well in the film. Like great. Yeah. Like great cast overall. I don't think there was anything wrong with the casting. Really, I think a lot of the setup was great. The tension too in the house was fantastic. Like I was creeped out while watching this movie. Just kind of like leading up to the reveal of the actual thing, which to me really ruined it. And
I have to agree.
yeah, and the way, listen, I think when they were building up to reveal his sister, spoiler alert, his
It's
sister,
his sister.
it's his
Yeah.
sister who was in the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
You know, the buildup was great, and then all of like when you see her hair and the spiders come, like, oh, I'm like, yes.
Yep.
And I think to me, when they finally reveal her, like the face, just it was almost like too cartoonishy, too comical. It reminded me of a face they would have. It reminded me. Have you ever seen Death Note?
Yeah.
That manga anime, and then
Yeah. I've
Netflix
seen
turned
Death
it into
Note.
it almost
Yeah.
looked like a manga anime Death Note character, and it kind of it put me off. To me,
I
I
think.
would have thought they would have maybe not revealed her face
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of kept her in the shadows. You know what I mean?
It was too. It was too exaggerated for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I think if they had left her still disfigured,
If her
but
face was covered more.
yeah, if it was partially covered more than it was, and it wasn't as revealed as much as it had been, I
Yeah.
think it would the suspense and the eeriness still would have stayed. But after when they kind of like revealed what she looked like, it was kind of like, man, this is all right. Well, like you remember, so because to me this movie had, I don't know, the movie Mama, so which is our mother's favorite movie. Um,
I did not
weirdly
know
enough,
that.
it is. It's Mom's favorite
I,
movie.
I did not know
Um,
that.
so the movie Mama,
Man,
that
man.
it kind of like came on the not that man, not the barbarian one. It kind of came on those lines of it had trick or treat vibes, it had Mama vibes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of gore in this movie, which I was very surprised at.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
and I'm the queen of gore. I love gore. Bring it on. But it just it fell short for me when they did reveal the sister. She talked in such a soft voice,
Yep.
and it was kind of like, why not leave her
In the
to
shadows.
yeah, in the shadows, like to your imagination, and
Yeah.
not reveal kind of what she really looked like, because I feel like it just damaged everything on the end of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree too. And I was thinking about it afterwards after watching the film. Like, well, the parents are kind of assholes, man. Like, she came out kind of disfigured. I mean, you should be still being a parent instead of locking her in the
Yeah,
basement.
but like that's where the storyline fell flat for me too, because it didn't really explain
Yeah.
what happened. Like, okay, she came out disfigured, but like, or did she end up like, did Lizzy Caplan like birth a Muppet that went wrong? Like
Yeah,
that's it. That's kind of like what it looked like to me. There wasn't any backstory. Now, granted, this is another spoiler for people. There's supposed to be a Cobweb 2.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if they're gonna leave,
because remember, she's still alive at the end.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Cleopatra Coleman ends up taking the little boy.
Little boy,
so they are supposed to leave this open for another.
Wherever you go, wherever
like,
you, yeah.
The storyline just kind of went to me. Like, I just felt like it could have been a better situation.
If they would have cut out the parts at the end where you see her,
yeah,
and just kind of like left her in the shadow, like the way she picked off those bullies was cool. That was really cool.
Oh yeah.
And then when the final confrontation with her and the teacher and the little boy, and then when they lock her in the base, that little, that pit again.
Yeah.
And the way she said, "Hey, wherever you go, you're gonna see me. I'm gonna like, the coolest line she had was, this isn't gonna keep me away." Like, I love that line.
Yeah, that's a great line. But now, to me, I think it's been ruined because
of the way, it's too cartoonish.
Animal on steroids. Like, it just wasn't.
Yeah. If they could have done, if they could have like made her face up to be almost like, kind of like, you remember like the little girl's face and the original Night of the Living Dead, the little girl that looks up and she's eating a bone.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, just kind of like subtle and creepy, but not like an exaggerated smile like she looks like an anime character. I think that would have been better for me as the payoff, because it just was, it almost took the film almost like in a fantasy horror, because the way she's crawling around like a spider and she just looks unhuman. And I agree with you. I think they maybe should have had a little bit of more backstory about, okay, Lizzy Caplan and the father had this baby that came out just totally disfigured and weird, and they just lock her in the basement. Why? Why did you lock her in the basement?
They still could have left her creepy and still disfigured, but done a makeup job on her and not had that huge
CGI,
exaggerative. Even again, going back to the movie Mama, when they first discover the two little girls in the cabin, they're literally on all fours scurrying around. Like they still could have had that, and then they left them dirty and kind of disfigured. Even if she had like a disfiguration of her face somehow, that would have been fine. But they made her too cartoonish, like you said. It just was very awkward just to see her face for some reason. I don't know why they ended up doing that. I hate CGI.
I don't just that, and I agree with you. I think that's like being the nitpicky about this film was just that last act. And seeing her, it's just like, man, you ruined almost a perfect film, because the way the tension was built up in the movie, where, and I think one of my favorite sequences in the movie was when he was having that dream, or maybe it wasn't a dream sequence, where he woke up and Lizzy Caplan's like in the doorway. She looks all weird. His father's
that was one of the weirdest, creepy scenes.
His father's in the corner, and his eyes are going a mile a minute, and she's looking all scary and stuff, and you don't know if it's a dream. That was a cool sequence. And then, in the third act, you don't know if you should root for the parents, because they're telling him, "Don't let her out, don't let her out." There should have, I agree with you. I think there should have been more of a backstory to it, to why they put her down there, and there was no explanation. The only thing we can get out of it is they put her down there because she looked weird, and that's kind of being an a-hole.
And she was horrible. Like she was, of pure evil, whatever it was. But even the scene where he ends up killing his parents by putting the poison in their food, like at that moment you're like, oh fuck, well he probably shouldn't have done that. Like that's to me that was one of the cooler scenes, because it's like, did you do something to the soup? It tastes like cinnamon. I mean, that scene was really cool too, but like I think they just kind of fell short. Like I just don't. You built this movie up so much through the whole thing, and then you're like, Saw, the puppet from Saw's sister.
I agree. I think also too, like a solid debut for a film.
Yes,
solid debut, and if there is going to be a sequel, I think you kind of have. Well, obviously, she's not going to be kept down there because she says this is not going to hold me. So she gets. It's
going to be Justin Long shows up at the house.
I guarantee you, he's probably going to be cast in that movie, and he'll be offed somehow, which is fine by me.
So. On a side note for Justin Long, I hate to get off on a tangent here. I actually started watching the new Goosebumps on Disney Plus.
How is it, by the way?
It's not bad at all.
I heard it's not for the kiddies; it's more for like adults.
It is more for like adults, but still. And here you go. This is the trailer for. I mean, first of all, the house is just creepy to begin with in this movie. You have Pumpkin Patch out front, and this poor kid is listening to things tapping on his walls. As a kid, that's one of your biggest fears is shit in the walls.
Yeah. I want more. I think if they do a sequel to this, I want more backstory of the parents.
Yeah, and what happened, and what the situation was, and why did they lock her down there, and why now is she contacting him?
Right.
Because there was that was another thing that bothered me. There was such a space between, because nobody knows even how old she is.
Right.
And of course, it's from Barbarian.
He made
me. But that's what I'm saying. It's like he has to be at least 10, 11. Yeah. Why is there such a time frame in between her now contacting him? She's got to have been down there for a while, and now she's making contact with her brother.
Right. Yeah.
That it was never really explained why and where she came from.
Yeah, and why now? And how did she got into the walls?
Yeah, that was another thing. Like, I understand that, and how did they? Yeah, see, that was one of the most.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest parts. Yeah,
that was one of the fucked up scenes.
Because you didn't know if it's a dream or not.
Yes,
because you never know. That it could have been real, and like they could have actually been like maybe the parents turn out to be demons themselves.
I don't know. It was just such a really. I enjoy a movie that has different elements of what the fuck in it, and this movie definitely had those elements. And see, who's the body in the backyard? Did we ever figure that out?
Yeah, the body of the
was the little girl.
Was the girl that was killed on Halloween that disappeared
and
or whatever.
So we assume that the sister killed her, which
no,
is why
remember the parents killed the little girl because the daughter got out and asked for help, and that's why they killed that little girl.
That's right. See, and then that in its sense seemed like it was kind of like thrown in there of it could have been more explained. And when did this happen? And how old exactly is the daughter? Like what I'm saying, there's a big there's too big of a time frame in between.
Well, I would say that she's got to be in her 20s.
Yeah, but there's a huge time gap.
I mean, she survived on rats. So
I don't know. It was I like the movie. It was just there's too much space in between certain things, and the ending just ruined it for me. It was just kind of like, all right, well, this is another CGI.
I think it's a solid debut from this director, but plot holes. Yeah. We want explanations. Maybe they'll do that in the sequel. But if you want to check it out, Cobweb is on Hulu streaming right now. So check it out. For Halloween. So check it out. So yes. All right, let's get into movie news. And movie news, Blackula.
They're remaking Blackula.
They're remaking Blackula. It'll be out next year.
Have you seen the original?
2020. Oh yeah, it's a classic.
It's a classic movie.
I see. I love movies from the 70s.
Oh, they're horrible
because they're horrible. Yes, and they're so bonkers, especially the horror films. They're bonkers.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Blackula is getting the reboot treatment. It'll be out sometime next year in 2024.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They're looking for an October release
of next year.
So we'll see.
Okay. I bet $5 that Tiffany Haddish is in that movie.
No, okay. I can't do it.
No? You don't think she will, or you just can't watch it if she's in it?
There's certain. I love Tiffany Haddish in small segments. Like when she's not overdoing it, I love her. Like when she's playing kind of like the straight man in some comedies.
Yeah.
She's great, but when she like she was great in Haunted Mansion. I thought she was really funny.
Oh, I thought she was fantastic in Haunted Mansion.
But when she like overdoes it, it's like, oh God, it's Tiffany Haddish again. So if they cast her in Blackula, I hope she's in it, but doesn't overdo it.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Okay. All right. Chucky season 3 part 2 is coming out in 2024. Obviously, if you haven't seen the show yet, check it out. It is on Sci-Fi. But part 2 of season 3 is going to have. There is a twist of season 1 at the ending of part 1 of season 3, but part 2 they're going into this where age has now finally caught up with Chucky, and he's finally aging out of the doll.
Oh,
yes.
How weird is that going to be?
I think it's great because now
he's aging out of the doll.
He's aging out of the doll. So Chucky, and you can watch the trailer. He's like aging out like as an old man. Like the doll is becoming an old man.
That's weird.
Yes. But I think it's a great idea though.
Okay.
I think now it's about time that they have Chucky age out, because now you can do so many other things to it too. With Chucky.
Okay.
So
I'll give it a whirl, but I think that's really strange.
I'll talk about the Chucky Haunted House when we get into my review of it.
Yes, please.
So, Terrifier 2 director Damien Leone wants to take a stab at Friday the 13th.
Please no, I saw that earlier.
Okay. I'm on the fence about this.
I possibly have a toe over the fence, and that's about it.
Okay. I'm on the fence about this because I think...
And it's my pinky toe.
Oh. If he does it not in the vein of Terrifier, like not over the top, I think this could be good. But if he does it over the top style like he does with Terrifier, then you lost me.
That's
You know what
why
I
I
mean?
have. That's why I have a pinky toe
Well, that's
over.
why I'm on the fence about it, because you can do it right, but then you could also screw it up.
So I'm kind of glad in a way that he's trying to attempt to do this
Mm-hmm.
and not David Gordon Green or somebody that shouldn't have their face in a horror movie.
True. Okay.
I'll give him that. At
Okay.
least it's him that's trying to attempt this.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't, then I feel like we would all be up Shit's Creek.
Right. I agree.
Like Halloween was. So
I agree. So that's
fine.
that's possibly coming. And if Terrifier 3 does well,
Uh-huh.
it might happen. So
Okay.
and plus I'm sure he can make he could probably make a Friday the 13th movie on a shoestring budget like he did Terrifier 2 as well.
Oh, I'm sure he can.
And make boatloads of money. So Five Nights at Freddy's comes out this weekend, and so far the reviews have been poo-poo. Five Nights at Freddy's have gotten just a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, it's not looking good for Five Nights at Freddy. I think mostly because it has a PG-13 rating, but right now it's not looking good for Five Nights at Freddy.
I didn't expect it to even get any type of wonderful rating. It follows too long.
But it is supposed to rake in $50 million this weekend. So that's a win-win. Yeah, so it's on track to hit 50 million. Well, you got to remember this movie based on the video game have a large following for this game. So you got to think,
I do know.
So you got to think the people that played the game are interested in watching this film, don't care about critics and what they say. They're going to go watch the film. And we're on Halloween weekend ish.
All right. Well,
so
more power to you on that.
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy. Probably will be a hit, but we'll have shitty reviews.
Of course.
Okay, like so I've got some big possible sequel news coming up.
Okay.
We talked about this the last show.
Okay.
Trick or Treat 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Is possibly going to happen, as well as Krampus Part 2. Yes.
Okay. I'm here for both.
Mm-hmm. I'm here more for Trick or Treat 2.
Well, I liked Krampus, so I don't know. Did you ever see Krampus?
I did not see Krampus, but I did see Trick or Treat, which we just
before you make that decision, you need to watch Krampus.
Okay.
Just for
shits. I'm all for Trick or Treat too, because we talked about this the last show where now you can do a new anthology of stories. Of course, have Sam in it, but you could do a whole brand new stories of Trick or Treat 2. I'm all for it. I think it should happen. I think everybody wants it because the way the movie has such a cult classic and has a cult following. Make it happen. It'll make lots of money.
Yes.
It'll make lots of money. So
that's
movie news for this week.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Should I get into my Halloween Horror Nights review?
You are, but let me put a disclaimer on this. So there was huge talk amongst Evan and I about going to Halloween Horror Nights and us going and broadcasting. And I do have to apologize to everybody ahead of time. I had a family emergency. So I was actually at the park, but I had to leave. So Evan was there, and he is, we posted pictures and everything like that. And he is going to tell you exactly what happened.
I think you should ask me questions. Should I start with the good?
Yes. So what was one of your, so what's one of your favorite houses that you went to and why?
So I'll start with I won't start with that first. So I took your advice. We got the early access, which I think if everybody, if you're going to go to Halloween Horror Nights, which you still have time to do, don't do the fast passes. You don't need them.
No.
They're more than the actual cost of the ticket. You don't need them. Go get the early access.
Yep.
Because you get in line about an hour, 15 minutes before the actual general public does.
Yeah. So basically what they do is it's called the Scream Early Pass for those who do not know. And what they do is if you're in the park already, you go ahead and pick zones.
Yep.
They have zones that show you what houses that you potentially want to. Mm-hmm. And at 5:00, they make everybody go bye-bye. And if you're already in these zones, you stay in these zones and you get to go into the houses early access before they actually open the park back up and general public comes in.
Yep.
It is worth it. We've done it every single year that we've gone, and it is probably the best decision anybody could do.
Definitely worth it. We got through 4 haunted houses within under 2 hours.
Yep.
So that was great.
Yes.
I really look. I'm not big on crowds anymore. Either is my wife.
Nobody is.
But because the last time we went was a long time ago, and it was packed,
Yeah.
like packed to the house. It was this many years ago.
Yes.
But I was really surprised how not packed it was, or maybe it was packed, but the way they have it set up was so open.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just you could walk freely and not bump into people like you would normally at a theme park, which I loved.
I think what you guys experienced is what we experienced most of the time when we did do the Scream early, is because you're so organized in those areas and you've gone and done what you wanted to. Everybody now is starting to come and they're in those lines. So you don't see that many people, but they're there. Trust me, because after a while you're looking at the times of the houses and they're up to 120 minutes and you've already gone through 3 or 4 of them and not even had to worry about it.
The longest we had to wait for the haunted houses was maybe 20 minutes. And the shortest we had to wait for a haunted house, less than 10 minutes.
That's good. That's what I'm telling you. Scream early. How were the scare zones?
Underwhelming.
Okay, explain.
And I'll say this because there weren't that many scare zones.
Okay.
And the ones that they had like a 1960s scare zone where it was like hippie vibes. There was like dead hippies and stuff like that, mixed with like vampires from. It almost seemed like the vampires were from Till Dusk Till Dawn, the way they're made up. So it was like that. Okay. It was fun, but it wasn't like super scary or anything like that. I thought to me it was almost like hokey jokey scare zone. And then the other one that we went through. To be honest with you, Megan, there was only like 2 scare zones to me because we walked around the whole park and we didn't really fall into the other scare zone. Well, I will say this: when we went to Diagon Alley, I guess you consider it a scare zone because they had the Death Eaters out, and they were really
considered a scare zone.
Okay, so that was cool. That was really cool because they had them all out. They almost did like a show. Because they all kind of got together and they were kind of doing like, pantomiming stuff. And that was really cool. And they made Diagon Alley like really kind of like creepy. They had like smoke going through the hall, like the hallways and stuff like that. And they had lights going on. So that was really cool. I like that zone. That was good. Okay. And then the other one was near almost to the front of the park. It was kind of like a mix of like fantasy type horror. They had people walking on stilts and whatnot. I mean, it was okay. I think compared to the other year I was there, maybe kind of a disappointment with the scare zones. They weren't that elaborate and scary compared to other ones.
So another reason, all the years that I've gone and the scare zones that I've come in contact with, they've all been fantastic. And when I saw the lineup, now there was actually 7 or 8 scare zones. I only
saw 3.
And that's the thing is, like, I think that they were kind of, like you said, underwhelming because they weren't publicized as much and the themes weren't as good. Like, I remember one year that we went and they had The Purge, which was a scare zone, which was absolutely fantastic. I think, this year I wasn't really even excited that many about the houses because I just think the themes were kind of lost in what they were doing. Like, they had Yeti Campground and they had...
the seems like the haunted houses that they had were kind of like all over the place. There wasn't really a theme to like this year's Halloween Horror Nights, like in years past. Like they had, it's a classic movie monsters, or it's like, So the scare zones were kind of underwhelming.
Okay. What about the houses?
So we got through 4. We didn't go through Last of Us because Last of Us had the longest lines. It was like 75 minutes. I was like, I'm not saying.
And I expected that to happen. Yeah.
The best one overall, The Exorcist. The Exorcist overall, I think was the best one. Stranger Things. I mean,
it's Stranger Things.
It's Stranger Things. If you are a fan of the show, you kind of know what you're expecting. Chucky
It's just a house full of Chucky dolls.
Yeah, but what was cool about it wasn't really that scary. What was cool about it was they had like they had scenes from the classic movies from the first
Okay.
3, which was cool because once you walk in, you see like the scene in the first movie with the Christmas tree and the fireplace. You have that, and
Yeah.
then you see and then like there's a scene in part 2 at the ending where they're in the toy manufacturing plant where they're making Chuckies and stuff like that. So you have those areas. So that was cool, but like it was just kind of hokey. I mean, we were talking about, well, if Chucky ever came after me, I'd kick him. I'd kick a doll. I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how scary you could make that.
yeah. So Chucky was the Dueling Dragons was mystical and
See, I don't know why they throw those in there. I mean, they're okay, but it's not like
yeah.
to me, if you're gonna do scare zones or haunted houses, it has to be scary. I mean, you have things jumping out on you. I mean, the last year's that we went to, we had the pumpkin. It was a big pumpkin one, but that one was even. It was actually pretty cool because it was really creepy, and it was like a creepy pumpkin patch, and you walk through, and like one of the themes of last year's was the Pumpkin King, which I don't even think he made he was supposed to be here this year, and I don't think he even made an appearance. So like those kind of ones, that's why I was kind of skeptical over that was Dueling Dragons. To me, that's not a haunted house.
Yeah, it goes along with the whole like there wasn't really a set theme through the whole park.
Yeah.
And we didn't like I know the Megan dancers were supposed to show up at one point. We didn't see them.
Oh, see, I was wanting your opinion about that because that to me was just I've seen video of it and it just looked ridiculous.
We didn't see them. They didn't show up when we were there.
Okay.
And then to top it all off, the rides kept getting delayed. It was and there was no like explanation on why they were getting delayed. Like it was just like it was like a domino effect. Like every single ride just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And at that point, there was one ride open. I think it was the Mummy, and the Mummy ride was like a 175-minute wait. I'm like, no, I'm not waiting more than 2.5 hours to sit for a Mummy. I was like, no. Yeah.
How was the Universal Monster one? How was that one?
So that one was very good. Like it was, that one wasn't really kind of publicized a lot, but so the funny thing about the Universal Monsters house, it's way off the lot almost. So you know where the ET ride is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you head towards ET, you go past the ET ride, and you go clear across the park into this one area that's where it comes to find out it's in this like warehouse, and the warehouse is sitting directly across from where The Last of Us is. But where it's at is where when you come out of the unmasked, the Universal Monster haunted house, you can see the line going into The Last of Us. So it's where The Last of Us is. But like we almost walked like a mile to it, which is really weird. I don't know why I had to walk.
But that's so last year that sounds like where I can't think of what it's called now. You have to walk. So there's one part where you had to walk through Escape from New York, and then it takes you in the back lot. And I know exactly what you're talking at. It's like you have to go halfway across the park to be able to get to a certain house. And I can't think of which one they had last year, but we did the same thing because you're walking, you're like, where are we going?
Right. But I will say this: it was surprisingly good because I love the classic Universal Monsters, and it was really good. It was really if you're looking for a surprised haunted house, like if I could rank them, I would have that at number 2, behind The Exorcist.
Okay.
Because it was just like because we didn't know what to expect, and when we got in there, it was actually really cool because I can appreciate the classic monsters. So but overall, I mean, it was fun. I had a great time. We all had a good time. Drinks were overpriced, and
of course,
so was food. But I think with the accessibility of going through the haunted houses under 2 hours made it good because then we kind of had like the freeness of like, hey, we can walk around a lot more instead of waiting in the lines. We can kind of like explore a little bit more and do stuff. And obviously, we wanted to go. I mean, we went on the Men in Black ride, and the Harry Potter ride. But like after that, everything kept getting delayed. It was just like, okay, everything's getting delayed.
Well, they were getting delayed when we were in the park too earlier that day. So I think it was from like the start of the day, things just kept getting backlogged. I mean, there was no explanation either. It was like at one point, Hagrid's ride was at 120 minutes, and all of a sudden you look again, and now it's shut down and delayed. So I'm not sure what the issue was they were having, but I think it's been a thing that since they've started the Halloween Horror Nights.
I mean, if you're gonna only have like 4 rides open, I mean, you might not want to delay them. So,
I mean,
but overall, we had fun. It was a great time. I wish you guys would have stayed, and we could.
I know we do too, but it happens.
But I'm looking forward to next year.
Yes.
There, because I think hopefully Universal will be like, maybe we should have a theme this time, because this year it was just all over the place with stuff.
Yeah. I think that we have enough movies that have come out so far that they're going to pick the best ones, I think, for next year. And I think there's some other stuff in the works. You have the HHN podcast, which I listen to a lot, and they already are dropping hints about next year. Also, they're all trying to give certain ones. So
also too, Megan, I think with the amount of horror movies that have come out this year, that they could have pre-planned for. To look, you could have done a Scream house.
That would have been fantastic.
You could have done that. So I think there was. Do I say missed opportunities? Yeah. Because of just the amount of like horror movies we've seen come out.
Yes. I mean, you have Hollywood got Evil Dead Rise, and I watched the video of people walking through the house, and it was fantastic. Like, I feel like Orlando kind of got stuck with the last of the rung picks. And it was kind of disappointing, but next year hopefully it'll be good. And like I said, for those
I wonder if each year they flip flop, like, hey, Universal Hollywood, you get the good stuff. Okay, Universal Orlando, you kind of get the.
Usually it's been that Hollywood has got the short end of the stick every single year, and Orlando has had some really good ones. So I don't know what happens as far as I know they were trying to bring back some of the originals.
They flip a coin.
God. Oh, you guys got the shit end of the stick this year. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys.
But I think for next year maybe they should go ahead and say, okay, we've got a lot of box office horror movie hits. Like, maybe it's because they have to secure the rights from these movies, but like you could have done a Terrifier.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. You know how fantastic that would have been?
Or like a Terrifier like Scare Zone. But like if you did a Terrifier haunted house.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that would have been fantastic.
Instead of dueling dragons.
Yeah, they try to sort of bring back the originals from way back in the day, and I've been in some of their talks that they've had at certain conventions, like the people actually that run Halloween Horror Nights. And the originals are always fantastic, but you have such a new group of people going into these parks. You're gonna have to pull something out of your ass and do something better. And in these newer horror movies that are coming out, you're gonna have to do something. I mean, you could have done like a vampire, like Last Forge of Demeter, and it would have been better than so
that would have been cool.
I just think that they kind of fell short this year, even though I didn't attend it.
Yeah, I agree with you too. There was like some fun parts, but I think overall it was kind of underwhelming. I wanted more because I've been to the ones in the past, and it was just like I'm getting shortchanged here.
Yeah.
So
hopefully next year they'll do it.
I hope so.
Yes.
All right, folks. This has been another great episode of Come Play With Us, Danny. Make sure to go to our YouTube page at Come Play With Us, Danny Show. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we will have a new episode tomorrow. We'll be recording with our special guest, Drew J. Pumpkins. We are having our villain showdown.
Yes.
And it's going to be good. We've got some curveballs. I'm actually going to redo my top 5.
Oh, they were so good, but why?
I want to bring in a couple of.
All right, well, I might
out of the left field villains that most people might not expect. So keep a lookout for that, guys. We'll be recording tomorrow night for the villain showdown, and we will have it uploaded. But of course, we will see you guys next time on Come Play With Us, Danny.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You're doing it the wrong way.
I know.